Welcome back to Bold Beginnings. My guest today is Ms. Stephanie Budd, Education Manager at FoodStrong, an organization connecting communities through nutrition, gardening, and health education. Stephanie's work centers on empowering students and families to understand where their food comes from and how it impacts their well-being. We'll dive into the importance of food education, the joy of hands-on learning, and how cultivating healthy habits can help build more stronger and more connected communities. Could you tell me about your role at FoodStrong and what a typical day looks like?
Sure. At FoodStrong, I am the education manager. So I oversee our currently 12, but still, right, pun intended, growing in that number, our 12 school gardens and school programs. So we connect a garden opportunity with classroom lessons. We explore the ins and outs, teaching students how to do gardening, how to, right, and then the science behind that. And then we also connect that with culinary lessons where the students get hands-on opportunities to slice, dice, mince, chop, saute, all of that, so that they know what they're doing when they bring produce home as well. On any given day in our organization, I might go to two or three different schools and visit different classes. We do tend to set it up like so that each week looks the same, and then I will return to each class throughout the year. Hopefully beginning at the beginning of the school year and keeping with a student group all the way till the end of the year so that they see the garden throughout different seasons and can experience and right, get out there, learn about the environment, learn about eating healthy at different times.
Wow, I think that's really important what you're doing. I think being able to teach people or children who don't know about fresh food and be able to make it on their own is something that I feel like is really unique and definitely what's necessary in our society today.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually remember, I'm not quite sure, but I think it was Food Strong. In my previous school, I think a Food Strong person came to our school and taught us about fresh veggies, and we also
Yeah,
learned about how to make a school garden. So I think I
nice.
can really see the community impact.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful.
And then could I also know what inspired you to work in food education and community health?
Yeah. And I guess this kind of starts way back. I have kind of always been really interested in health. For reason, like I was a student athlete when I was young, when I was in high school. So I wanted to perform my best. That's kind of, where it started. I wanted to make sure I had the right kind of energy I was a cross country runner,
Oh,
so
wow.
required a lot. But that kind of grew into as I grew older, just understanding that food has a big impact in how well I feel throughout the day. And how well I can concentrate on things, how well I can show up emotionally, all of that. I did that's where it all kind of started. But I believe that it is, kind of like you were saying, it's really important for all of us to be reconnected to that understanding of how to grow our food.
Yeah.
Um, and just that connection of watching something grow as well has just really intrinsically powerful benefits for all of us emotionally, physically, spiritually as well. And I think that's something that a lot of us are missing. And that it has really, yeah, it just has really powerful impacts on all of us.
I think some of us don't realize how much of an impact food can have in our lives from not just being physically fit, but also what you said, being able to concentrate, being able to do well in your academics. It has
Right,
an impact in so many different ways. So I think
right.
what you're saying is very important. And then How
Yeah.
does FoodStrong address food insecurity and health education in Cleveland?
Yeah. So we are, um, I mean, so it's part of a kind of like a bigger picture. So food security is extremely important to us, and whenever we can, we want to put food into people's hands. We do that a lot through our school programming and through community demos, as well as selling at farmers markets. Um, but in all, but we do strive to take that whole vision a little bit bigger as well. So we work on cultivating food justice and food sovereignty throughout the area. So that it also includes a lot of the education around how to grow your own food, but also like how to kind of navigate our food system. Because, right, our grocery stores are becoming way more complicated. Food is not just food, and there's a lot of chemicals in there. There's a lot of food dyes. There's a lot of other things that are not serving our greater health. And there's a lot of advertising that entices people into those foods that are not, again, serving our best like well-being and our best like health benefits. So a lot of diseases and things are beginning to be on the rise. Um, so we want to put people back in the driver's seat, help them be educated and informed around all of these practices that are going on, help them better, like know how to start a garden, know why that's important, understand like how to make the best choices that you can in the grocery store so that, right, even if your circumstances are limited and, right, there are no grocery stores, for instance, in your neighborhood or community, which is true, and where our learning garden is, you can still make, like you can still be educated around making the best choices that you can, or find other areas such as community gardens, or like farmers markets where you can find some of that produce.
I see. I really like the sentence you use, putting people back into the driver's seat. I think it's very important for people to know like what's best for them instead of being told what's best for them and like accepting it.
Right,
Being able
right.
to know and make their own decisions is very important. And I remember seeing a documentary where children like between like age like 9 through like 14 didn't know like what some vegetables were named. Like
Mm,
one like showed them a potato and a tomato and they didn't know what it was
right.
because they've been so used to eating like processed foods and things like that. I think
Mm-hmm.
Food Strong is doing in Cleveland
Right.
is so
That's
important.
actually like part of the origin story of FoodStrong is our executive director and founder, Sarah Continenza. She met a girl who did not know what celery was.
Oh,
Um, and so, that has big impacts on, how the rest of your life might, maybe not one vegetable in particular, but it's in a whole. Not knowing what certain fruits and vegetables are means that you are likely to not choose that if you see it in the grocery store. And
yeah,
then, right, you won't know what to do with it when you get it home. Access comes in a lot of different ways. And sometimes that is like knowing how to cook it, knowing what it is in the first place, and like being familiar enough with it that you want to get it, purchase it, and take it home. Yeah.
great. Yeah, I think it's very important. And then I think you've already answered this question. The next question is like, why is it important for young people to learn about food and health? If there's anything else you want to say?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess just some of the bigger impacts around like our eating habits, especially in the US. Um, this is true for adults and like especially for children as well, but a lot of us are not getting the recommended fruits and vegetables
Yeah,
that like that we should be. And that is, right, those are the foods that really fuel our health. A lot of them have, yes, like we talk about the nutrients that are inside of all of our fruits and vegetables, but they also have inflammatory components that keep our insides happy and healthy and working to their optimal potential. And when we replace that with like sugary drinks or fruit flavored things or, like super processed foods, our bodies are not responding, like that's not natural for us. And it actually causes inflammation and can be the start of disease. So, like I like to get our students, I often think that like the main purpose of what I do is just making fruits and vegetables cool. Making them fun, making them seem exciting so that because and then also highlighting to students that the things that are being advertised to them are all of these processed things and not the fruits and vegetables, right? And so helping them see through some of that lens of what's directing their food choices. So that again, they can make, even from a young age, they can begin to make those healthier choices, and start them on a longer line of eating fruits and vegetables.
Starting with our young generations definitely helps our future, right? So
Right,
it's
absolutely.
important for that. So I think this is also along the same lines. How do you involve youth in your programs?
Yeah. So I mean, all of our programs, I've kind of like alluded to it, but all of our programs are very hands-on.
Mhm.
We are outside, we are using tools, we are in the garden, we are touching things, smelling things, tasting things. Whenever we can, just pop cherry tomatoes into our mouths or something, pull a carrot out of the ground, smell or taste an herb. We absolutely do that. As well as with like the culinary lessons, every student gets a cutting board and a plastic chef knife, that they can safely help prepare or do a portion of the cutting and preparation of a community meal. So, like that's one of the first things. But then also we really incorporate youth voice into everything that we do. So allowing, students to help kind of direct where, through like their interests, through their skill set, through their just like curiosity and desire, what they want to gain out of it. They help direct where our program goes. So we allow some flexibility in the programming. So if one group is really into artwork, then we might lean in on that and create more artwork that connects to the science or to the garden or to the community feel. Or maybe if one group is really into STEM, then we might focus more on doing science projects and exploring that way. But we let the students really help guide the programs.
I think that's very unique. Finding a program such as Food Strong, like, I think it's a very organic program, I could say. Something so unique. Being able to like physically grow those vegetables, smell them, taste them is something I haven't seen in a long time. And I think Food
Yeah.
will be very happy to say that Food Strong is here. So
Yeah. It's often like kids' highlight of their week because we do change it up for them. Yeah.
it sounds so fun. I actually participated in the Social Advocates for Youth Summer Institute
Okay.
my freshman year, and
Yeah.
actually came in and we, like you said, we used the plastic knives, and I think we made some
Hmm.
sort of salsa using like these freshly cut
Sounds about
vegetables.
right.
Yeah, and it was the best thing I've had in a while. I had so much
Oh,
fun.
that's so great.
So
I
I
love that you have that experience.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was so nice to like see like these freshly grown like fruits and vegetables being used and like eaten right away. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's just something I really enjoyed. And could you share a moment when a young person in your program made a big impact?
Yeah. I mean, so we always love to shout out our young partner Jeffrey. He has actually started his own business that's called Far from the ER.
Mm.
He actually has an abundance of health or like food allergies, and so he has created a business that right where he has taken out all of the common food allergies and has used replacements to create desserts, and then he's branching out to pickles, I believe now. So he's one that has made like a big impact, I would say. But beyond that, I also love to just share the like right the everyday impacts that our students make. So that's one of the things that we like to kind of stress in the program is that, right, it doesn't have to be like some world changing, right, the whole world all at once, that you start local, right? And so it is sometimes like students who come back and tell me about how they've stopped eating as much sugar, right? They've stopped eating so much sugar and now they're feeling better. Or some students who, like, after we did do a measuring sugar in drinks kind of lesson, they then, I mean, I'm not sure how their daycare teacher would feel about this, but they kind of told their daycare teacher how unhealthy her cherry Coke was for her. So, like, but just that general, like, advocating, and that, right, that's when students come back and they tell me that they're eating more green things, or that, those kinds of things, those regular daily changes, those to me are equally as important as the big changes. Um, right. And like, and if we all do a little bit of that, right, here and there, that adds up, and then that becomes more habit, more routine, so that, right, later on down the line, we are really prepared for making the bigger changes and bigger society.
I 100% agree. Like those small daily changes add up. They do add up. And
Right.
yeah, I think it's really important.
Yeah.
And what are some of the biggest health challenges you see in Cleveland right now?
Hmm. Yeah, so I mean, Cleveland, I, just from my experience, and like, we do service a lot of different schools throughout. But Cleveland's also not very unique from other cities in this respect. But right, you can have completely different health, like, projections, or like life expectancy, right? Like lack of disease and that kind of thing, right? These, like, different health components that are completely different depending on which neighborhood you live in. And so, right, it can be even as small as like a 2 mile difference, but you cross a community line or a city line, and, right, all of a sudden the life expectancy drops by about 20 years. And that is true in Cleveland. That's true in, like, other cities throughout, right? Our environments have a lot to do, right, with how healthy we are. And that's not just food access. I mean, though that plays a huge role. Like I said, where our learning garden is in East Cleveland, there, like, literally are no grocery stores around. So finding healthy foods, right, is sometimes just an insurmountable, like, barrier. You'd have to ride 3 buses, or you'd have to walk like 5 miles or something, like, and especially in summertime, or when you're then carrying heavy things, that's not, like, of course you're going to go to the
Mhm.
closer location where you can get something. Um, but also that, that pollution, air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, right? All of these things also play a role in how well our health, right, is taken care of. And so it's not, like, it's not only about the choices that we can individually make, but it's like that bigger picture of how we're all connected and how we all need to, like, right, step up and start putting health as a priority, health of people, health of communities, health of our ecosystems as a priority for everything that we do. Um, so yeah, that is one of the biggest things.
I have to agree. 20 years of life expectancy being lost is, I think, a little
Right.
crazy. And
Right.
to think that it's like not even by choice. People can't access grocery stores or just
Right.
may not be as convenient for them
Right.
as going to another place. And
Right.
I do think that if we all step up, then it might be possible to make that life
Right.
expectancy go up.
And no one wants to choose to be
Yeah,
unhealthy.
for sure.
Like, no one wants that. They want healthy. They want, like, good food. They want to feel good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, it's not, it's not their
Mhm.
choice.
Yeah.
It's things that have been kind of imposed upon them. So yeah.
Yeah. And could you tell us a little bit about how access to healthy food connects to school performance or youth development?
Mm. Yeah. So I mean, again, it's kind of like bringing all of these things full circle. So, when we're talking about communities not having healthy food and that life expectancy dropping, right? In the schools, what we see is like students who are tired or emotionally dysregulated or struggling to concentrate, kind of bouncing around in their chairs. Which to some, like that is why I focus so heavily on fruits and vegetables and why we get kids to like taste it. But one of the things that we don't, or sorry, why we also get kids like up and moving around. But one of the things that we don't often think about is just like everything stems from all of our health also stems from like our gut health. And so that can play a role in how well we sleep. That can play a role in how well we are able to concentrate, what kind of a mood we're in, what, like um how well we can actually like absorb and embody or internalize like deep information, or like more complex information. So all of that would play out in the school, like in school classes. And if you're not eating as well, like you may not be able to just function as to your peak performance. The unfortunate part is that I think a lot of us, I think you might have said it before, but a lot of us don't realize how much better we could feel
Yeah.
by eating healthy, by making these other like food choices.
I myself can say that I could definitely improve on like what I eat on a daily basis because like when it comes to academics for sure food plays a huge role and I since I'm a high schooler I took AP exams this year and they
Mhm.
recommend us to like eat like non-sugary foods, eat like healthy foods
Yeah,
break and stuff. So I always remember to bring strawberries and apples between, but then I forget to do it when it doesn't come to AP
right.
exams. So I think it's important to remember to like to consume these
Yeah,
foods on a daily basis.
right.
And then what's one thing you wish every teen knew about food and health?
Yeah. I mean, I think kind of like we've said, is just like,
Mhm.
how much better you can feel. And like that's like on a very basic level, of just right. I mean, like everybody would choose to kind of feel better if they could, I think. Um, but like what we do in our programs, we do think about we use the tagline food is medicine. And so right, we think about that on the individual level, the community level, and the ecosystem level, right? The foods that we put into our bodies help fuel health and wellness, or right, they fuel the opposite if we're not, like if we're choosing super processed foods or whatnot. Our gardens and the community level, they bring people together, they inspire connection, they write socialization. They also like beautify, they reduce pollution, all of these things on the ecosystem level. We also plant a lot of native plants, so we're increasing biodiversity, we're helping the ecosystem be healthier, while also like gardens help reduce pollution in the space. So all of these different fronts, right? We're helping in we're helping build it, I guess. So we're helping build that health and that wellness, for not just for our students, but right, of course, they are the center, the focus, but for our students, for our communities, and for like the ecosystem at large.
Thank you so much for doing that for both
Yeah.
us students and the ecosystem.
Right?
And
I think it's a pleasure to me. It really is. Yeah, I feel very honored to get to do the work that I do.
thank you so much again. So, could you tell us a little bit more about the mission of Food Strong and how you help to fulfill it?
Yeah, of course. FoodStrong is a young nonprofit in Cleveland, Ohio. We're about 6 years young. But our mission is to cultivate food justice throughout Northeast Ohio and beyond. by building local enduring food systems. So we actually hit on this through like a number of different programs that we offer. So we do have our learning garden in East Cleveland, where we cultivate produce, but also host volunteer groups, and then sell the produce that we have grown just right across the road at the Coit Road Farmers Market. Just a fun fact is that that is one of the oldest farmers markets in Ohio, and I think actually possibly like the country, but I'd have to check on that part. But wonderful space over there in East Cleveland. We also, through that space, run some what we call caravan events. So our caravan events bring a lot of community resources together and offer community members or residents an opportunity to kind of go around, visit the different community members, talk to them, and then actually like use that as like an exchange for like produce points. So they can actually turn that like conversation into produce. So we give like little vouchers for that. Um, we also, right, we do what I know of the most as the education manager. I run our school programs. So, right, running that primarily throughout the school year. We do have 12 different schools right now, working on expanding that. And each year expanding the gardens, teaching our young people throughout, well, the Cleveland area, throughout Northeast Ohio, how to grow, how to eat healthy, um, and the reasons why. And then lastly, we do have something really exciting that is kind of just up and coming, which is our newest site in the Superior St. Clair area or neighborhood of Cleveland, where we have our Superior Avenue Farm. So that is a new site that will, right, is about 3 acres of growing space. We have an outdoor educational area. We have a growing tunnel. We have a farmhouse. And we have a massive church. On site. So ultimately, like the dream for that space is that it's going to become kind of like a community hub of wellness and growing, a space where you can, right, lean into the expertise of trusted individuals that, right, you see out there working, growing, and cultivating good things, for all of us.
Mhm.
Yeah,
As I can see, Food Strong has already made such an impact on our community, and I hope to see it grow even larger.
so do I. Yes.
Yeah, so thank you for coming and being a part of my podcast today. And thank
Thank
you
you
for
so
sharing
much.
so much information for both me and the viewers and listeners.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed this.